have you seen like OpenAI API key, which is purely really trending out there inside the TikTok and Instagram and YouTube space? But have you seen or heard about OpenAI Playground, which is a fairly not a new thing, but it's not really hyped out. Okay, so OpenAI Playground is much like N8 or Crew AI or any kind of AI multi-agent automation platform, but it's by OpenAI. So why does it matter, right? Let's start. So OpenAI API is something like you can use OpenAI or ChatGPT in your app or in your website or in your chatbot, right? But what if there was a separate platform whereby you can create multi agents using OpenAI, but really separate, not from a global perspective? All right. So you just need an OpenAI centric app which cannot be connected with, ideally, it can be connected with other apps, but this is a really new segment whereby OpenAI is actually trying to build up. Okay. Okay, today's whole video is about OpenAI Playground or OpenAI SDK for multi agents. So, why do we really need to learn about this thing? Okay, first of all, let's understand two basic things. That is the difference between Google Cloud and Google Cloud API. Okay, so this is the best way to make you understand why this is so much important, right? So consider that you have Google Docs, right? Google Docs is like somewhat like Word file, which is there inside Google, but it's also dynamic, right? If you and your friend has the same Google Docs, you kind of can edit it from one location or in one time, and simultaneously that change would be affected if you are doing your work in the same file to the friend's computer in the Google Docs, right? So basically, it's a cloud based word system, right? So this is much like this is the what is Google Docs does. But there is another thing known as Google Cloud Console, which is a really an umbrella term or an umbrella system for Google services. So if you are using any kind of N8 automation or email automation, if you are using Salesforce or anything, you kind of will have to go through this Google Cloud Console and then give the permission. Okay, give me a second. Right. So much like that, this is OpenAI's personal, like OpenAI API is the Google Cloud Console thing, and Google Docs is much like OpenAI SDK for multi agents. Okay, so in order to understand all of this thing, you need to understand this whole thing. Okay, but it's kind of complicated but yet simple. So first, we need to understand primarily you have OpenAI assistants. So, what are OpenAI assistants? OpenAI assistants are much like N8, but it's not just a chat window. It is much more than that. It can connect to multiple apps. So, you kind of have somewhat like, let's say, you want to have a fitness app, right? So, what does a fitness app really have, right? One is you need to have some kind of storage on how fitness related stuff are there, right? So, for cardio, you need to do push ups. For stretching, you need to do yoga or something like that. And for breathing, you need to do some kind of aerobic exercise or something like that. So, all of this knowledge has to be stored somewhere, right? And if you're doing another thing, like if you're doing an app, right, on a phone, you need some front end, right? So this is the storage. Now you need to represent the storage on a phone and a laptop and everything. So you need some technical term will be like Node.js, Next.js, or HTML, or something like that. HTML, yeah, HTML to create the front end, right, of the app. But also now you're thinking, you know what? I need to upgrade this app. I need to make it more fun to use it. So what do I have to do? Since we are in this AI era, most of the times what people do is they put a wrapper. The industrial term is put a wrapper around this app or OpenAI. So basically, what does that mean is you kind of core multiple AI platforms into this app, right? So for one sense is I want to call Google's new video model, which was Nano Banana, right? For what? So I want to call Nano Banana and ask the person to upload, like, my app will have a trainer, which is a Nano Banana created trainer, which is a personalized trainer for the app. So whenever the person opens the app, there will be a avatar or an AI avatar saying, "Hey, Vishnu, do 10 push-ups now," and it's gonna scan me, right? So in order to scan me, I need the camera of my phone to on, right? So now there is another thing, right? So I need video access right now, right? Now I have video access right now, but the trainer or the AI avatar has to speak to me, right? So now I also need a audio access as well, right? Now you can see that the app is actually creating like having like multiple steps or multiple processes going on, right? So usually when you are a developer, what happens is this whole thing will be taken care of by a software developer, right? But now, since OpenAI is there, Claude is there, Anthropic is there, Cursor is there, this barrier to entry for coding has been significantly low. So what does that mean? I think there is a new breed of developers coming out into the world, and I think universities or employers or any companies are not really ready for it, right? Traditionally, people would say, my developer should know Python A to Z. My developer should know, how data should be stored, right? But think about it, right? This is just a knowledge issue, all right? If I want to know what different types of syntax in Python, you and I know that I will try to go to ChatGPT or Claude or even Anthropic and say, I want to create a calculator. It will kind of create a calculator for me, right? Now that is a new breed of developers, right? And the old breed of developers would be saying to this new breed of developers like, you guys are not doing the basics, you guys are not learning the basics, this is very important, blah blah blah. Really true, right? But if you go through YouTube or any place or even like Forbes magazine, most of the new millionaires and billionaires are not billionaires, but millionaires are being made by like no like low code guys, right? It's not really high technical proficiency guys. Most of these guys have only one skill, right? That is the skill to adapt. That is the skill to do something with a vision like a horse, horse blinder vision, and saying, oh, I have this problem in front, I need to overcome this problem, and I don't care what steps I do, I'm gonna overcome this problem by using AI or without using AI, right? So I think this is the new breed of programmers, right? So, in order to get a new revenue stream for the OpenAI, OpenAI has created the OpenAI multi-agent SDK, or it's known as OpenAI's Playground, right? So, inside the Playground, let's say we are building a fitness app, right? Like this. First of the thing that we need is a storage, right? Storage for the fitness classes, calorie intake, how many push-ups are there, and also there will be things like the user. When you are signed in with my fitness app, I need to track you, right? Whenever you are getting in the next like whenever you are logging into this app, I need to know there is a progress bar, and that is very specific to one person, and I need to store that data in my platform, right? So in order to do that, OpenAI has like 6 storage inside the playground, OpenAI Playground, right? And the first storage is the assistant storage, right? So this assistant storage is the storage which you kind of store things for the OpenAI brain, right? Or the app's brain. So if you are making any kind of software, you need to have a centralized brain, whereby if it is, for example, if it is like a English to Mandarin converter, right? I need to store the English dictionary and the Mandarin dictionary and the phonetics here in the OpenAI assistant storage base, right? That is the case for OpenAI assistant storage base. Now there is the batch. We will come back to batches here, right? But batch is for offline learning, right? It is for ML development. What does that mean? So recently, I have been doing this ML project for handwriting kind of stuff, right? And I was doing it in AWS. But what I seen is, in order to train the model, I had to wait 16 hours just for the sake that I had to create a new model which is very specific for us, right? So this thing, if I am using OpenAI, and if you think about it, when you chat with OpenAI, if you upload a book in OpenAI and you chat with OpenAI, right, or ChatGPT, you kind of have this limitation whereby this book's only 10 pages are being read or outputted to you, but the book has like 300 pages, but I can only like tell ChatGPT to either do a whole summary of 320 pages in like one paragraph, or I can deep dive in like 10 pages batches, right? So all of the OpenAI Cloud and everything has a knowledge window, which is really small, right? But if you want to train something from scratch, you can't be limited by this knowledge window. Let's say I'm going to train a model to recognize Malayalam, right? But the model like Olama, which is already trained in English, which is pre-trained, is very pre-trained in English. So I need to train it in Malayalam. I cannot train just like in small batches. I need the model to be trained in the entire Malayalam dictionary and phonetics, and then only I need the final product. So in order to do that, you need to upload all of this batch things, or all of the pre-trained or fine-trained stuff into the batch knowledge base or batch storage. Next one is the fine-tuned storage. So this is the JSON format for fine-tune. So let's understand what is fine-tune. So fine-tuning is, let's say you have seen this, what was that Chinese ChatGPT similar kind of stuff was there. I don't remember the name. So let's say Nano Banana, okay? Nano Banana, you might have thought, oh, Nano Banana is something really revolutionary, right? But under the hood, it's actually, there is a progression of development. So Nano Banana, how it will be made is, first we will create somewhere down the line there will be a CNN, okay? First we will create as basic neural network. So it is called neural network. So this is the same thing that you see like this, right? Inside the web you see there is 2 dots and something like this goes right thing. So in order to create an image and video model, first you need to actually create a neural network, which is a language model, right? Then what you do is to use some BiSTL or any kind of like different kind of AI algorithms to create a CNN. So CNN can actually understand an image only, right? Now what you will do is create a model which can understand multiple images, right? Now what you have done here is once you created a model to create to recognize and create multiple images, you have created a video. Okay. Now what you might see, then only Nano Banana will be released here. Okay, this thing would be in something like 1990 or something. It will be invented in 1990. CNN might be invented in 2005. These years are completely wrong, but I'm just trying to give you a general picture. And video model might be released in like a 2018 or something, right? And Nano Banana is released in 2025, right? I know why I'm slipping. Okay. So only after the video model is being created, and there is another new thing put out between the current old video model to make the Nano Banana. So this is how AI is being invented, right? You can't actually create something from scratch. You kind of pile one AI system on top of another AI system to make a revolutionary AI system. Okay, coming back, DeepSeek. This is a major example. So DeepSeek was very revolutionary because it was a very small model, but it has the same capability of ChatGPT. But if you just go through it, you kind of see like all of the architecture and the pre-trained model was from ChatGPT itself, right? And then what they did was fine-tune it to make DeepSeek. So ChatGPT has a huge system, right? It's like inventing of Macintosh, right? At the time, IBM was there. IBM had a huge computer, huge processors, right? Then Steve Jobs comes and say, you know what? This is the existing processing that happens. I just need to fine tune it to make it smaller, to make it more aesthetically pleasing for the normal consumers. That's how, tada, iMac came in, right? So that is basically fine tuning. Now there is another thing, another type of storage known as vision storage or image file trainer. So if I am trying to create a app which kind of recognizes, let's say, I'm creating a farmer specific app, and the whole purpose of this app is if you are a farmer, you can download my app and you just have to screenshot or take a picture of your crop, and I will tell you how healthy the crop is. And I will tell you how healthy the crop is by looking at my images of all the healthy crops versus the non-healthy crop, and I will tell you, oh, this crop is around 70% healthy, or this crop is actually 90% healthy, or this crop is not really healthy because I seen the images that unhealthy crops looks like this. Okay, so I can create these whole things are more like a language and text and image, everything can be uploaded here, but vision is only for image training and pre-training and fine-tuning. Okay, and the next type of storage is known as the user data. This is generally flexible and generous storage. This is basically used, as we have said, if you are, let's say, what is the most iconic thing? Okay, let's say YouTube app, right? You have a YouTube app, and every time you watch something on the YouTube app and you come next day, your pre-watched thing will be there, right? Yesterday you watched a movie or some kind of dumb show in YouTube. You kind of have a recommendation today saying, oh, this thing you have watched it and you have completed around 50% of it. Do you want to, complete the rest, right? And once you have watched this one, let's say I watched Sideman, right, in UK. Now I will be getting recommendation from like KSI videos who are inside Sideman, right? So that is a user data. So I kind of build this data world, right? Or I kind of build this database based on my usage of this app. And this usage of this personal person of this app will be stored here in the user data. The last one is the evals. I will be discussing evals here, but the basic premise of evals is two things. One is evaluating my current model. So let's say, as we say, we have created a video model here, okay, and I have evaluated this video model. Have you seen the Will Smith video generation, Will Smith eating spaghetti in 2025 versus is Will Smith eating spaghetti in 2026, where it's like really realistic now but not so realistic before? So that is basically the eval. So I can evaluate my first model's Will Smith training data here, and then I can evaluate the newer model's evaluation data, like Will Smith like eating the spaghetti here, and I can evaluate, oh, I have improved so much so, and how did I improve it? On what all factors have I improved it, right? That can be on image, that can be on text, that can be on like anything, right? So now we have completed the storage. I think before we go to app info, let's first understand one more things. Okay, that is assistants. Okay, assistants are not actually chatbots, but if you have any experience in NA10 or something like that, or any multi-agent workflow, you might be really familiar with this. And if you are not, OpenAI has its own multi-agent system, whereby the whole workflow goes like this. You give a couple of instructions to this multi-agent system. Let's say agent 1 is, let's say I'm going to create a multi-agent for tax purposes, right? So I'll say agent 1's name is tax collector, okay, and he collects all of the tax documents. He is an image model, right? And his role is an image model, right? And what he does, another role is scan images of my tax return and then convert into a like computer based storage, like an Excel sheet or something like that, right? And then I say there is another agent which is known as the accountant, right? So the role of the accountant is to go through this Excel sheet and tally my expenses and my income, and kind of make it so that I only pay tax the right amount, or I only pay the amount that I really want to pay this year. So we have created two agents. So these are the instructions. Okay. Now you can also collect a couple of tools to these agents. So for example, for our tax collector agent, I can connect Google API and I can use my phone's camera, right? For the accountant agent, I can connect Google Sheets, OpenAI, and many other API to make this accounting better, right? I can also connect like databases here, whatever makes my process better or whatever solves my problem, right? And then these tools are all being stored in memory, and these are the memory or storages that we have discussed. And then we have threads. Now, what are threads? So in order to understand threads, let's understand logs, conversations, chat kits, and traces. Okay, so let's first understand logs. So logs are kind of black boxes for any kind of software development. Okay, so mind you, I am a person who just got into software development for like the past 1.5 years, and I was from a marketing background, so I kind of understand this to make it like I this was a really complicated way to understand, because most of the software developer channels or anything would be making this really complex. Okay, what are logs? This is like 1.2 time frame. I'm like, what is this thing, bro? I can't understand it, right? So I'm going to dumb it down so much. Okay, so log, before that I need some water. So logs are the black box of every software, not only OpenAI, right? back when like any software was written in Python or SQL or any programming language, what they do is they kind of run the program, okay, and they also create a log system, right? And they will check the logs to see, oh, why this software is crashing. When is the software crashing is being monitored by the logs. So logs are nothing but an attendance sheet or a monitoring Excel sheet. Or it's not an Excel sheet. The how it stores it is different, but you can kind of say logs are something like, let's say you go to a school, okay, you attend the school at 9:05. The class began at 9 o'clock. So your log is okay. Even though the class began at 9, this student has arrived at the class at 9:05, and the class stretched to 10 o'clock. Right? In this between 9:05 and 10 o'clock, the student actually didn't learn anything. He was like talking to the friend. And 10 o'clock, the teacher picked him up, but unfortunately, the class got dismissed because it was 10 o'clock, and the next period comes. Okay, then a new teacher comes. The student is still very confused about this new class. So, this is the log of a student going through a school or a school day, right? So, that is pretty much log, right? And inside logs, you can actually monitor prompts, model output, how much tokens you use, how much tools you call. Like, is this the tools that you are calling is actually coming up, or is there any issue on calling the tools? Is that why the program is shutting down, or is that why the tokens are being used more? Any kind of errors can all be seen inside the log, right? That is the threads here, right? And apart from logs, there is conversations. So conversations are much like user data here, right? So it is a long conversation by user. So for example, user asks some kind of questions or user follow-ups the question. So inside your chat GPT, right? Inside your chat GPT app, you kind of have like, this is what is a conversation, right? So, and this is the threads. So you have kind of saying, okay, this is my math chat GPT file, this is my science chat GPT file, and if I click science chat GPT file, there will be like whatever you have asked and whatever the chat GPT has replied. Okay, and that is actually conversations, right? And a response is, and the next step, the next type of logs is a response, which is, this is very important to understand the response. It's a model core of API. So it's a unified endpoint for text, JSON, tools, images, audio. And it's kind of a, so basically, if you know any kind of multi-agent system, so basically this is a multi-agent system for OpenAI, right? So even in N8N, which is very graphical, behind the hood, it's actually really simple. Okay, I think let's wait here. Okay, everything will be stored in a JSON output, and the JSON output will be something, this is may not be the exact JSON output, but it will be like agent dot tax collector role dot I screen paper connection might not be the right thing. These two might be the right thing. Connection, camera, Google API, and we will have, let's say, connection to is Excel, Google API. So you can see this is a very structured way of writing whatever is happening. So that whole thing will be stored inside conversations, right? So even if you are a N18 user, even if you are a Crew user, even if you are a OpenAI user, under the hood, this is how these agents and ChatGPT things talk to each other. Okay, and you can actually see how raw file is actually working by using conversations, right? Now the last two things are chatkit threads. So these are used for agents and assistants for, like, for example, have you seen this new things which new update from NotebookLM and Gemini has? It's perfectly really good. It's I use it so much, and I think it's kind of not used to its max potential by so many people. So the problem with Gemini or ChatGPT or anything is you kind of have to like when you ask something, right? Let's say I'm asking, what will happen when Trump what will Trump gonna do in the next 2 weeks or next 2 years, right? ChatGPT would not understand anything. ChatGPT would kind of go through any news or something like that and just give you a general answer. Okay. But I seen this really cool YouTube channel which is known as Predictive History. I think you guys also should check it out. It's a really cool one. So if you go to NotebookLM and you paste all of his videos inside the NotebookLM, and then you can call it inside the Gemini, and then ask it, what will Trump do in the next 2 years? It will have a very different answer, and it can kind of have a specialization and generalization in the same time. Try it out and tell me, right? It's worth a try, right? So that is chatkit threads. So you kind of can manage chats and keep these threads or keep this long form and like general chats and specific chat together in one place, right? And Trace is like an enterprise grade debugging for multi-agent focus, right? Where have we seen that Trace here? I think somewhere here was there. Did we just? I think we like threads. We have threads, not Trace. Okay. So that is pretty much traces. Okay. Now let's go to the next area is batches. Okay. Before we start batches, we need to first understand app info. So, okay, app info it's kind of a wrapper which you put over this multi-agent. Okay. For example, let's say, have you seen this? I seen these ads in Instagram and YouTube. Whenever I was like going through Renveer or some guys like Indian podcast guy, this app suggestion started coming up. This was like an AI astrologer, right? So this basically AI astrologer app, how it is built is you use ChatGPT, okay? You use ChatGPT API, right? And then in the back end, it would be ChatGPT API with the astrology book as a database. Okay. And also a ChatGPT API for general information. So if this astrology book, you can't ask, if I am in UK, will it be a good thing or a bad thing? Astrology book might not have it, but general intelligence will have it, right? ChatGPT might have it. So this is a combination of a specific database and a general database, right? And this whole system is wrapped around a new HTML or usually React app. Okay. And then we will ship it to Play Store and iStore, and you will buy it from there. So that is basically how nowadays apps are built. Okay. So app info is this thing. So it will have MCP servers. So MCP servers are actually, this was my dissertation project called MCP and multi-agents. So MCP servers have, if you really dumb it down, is API request is when you call ChatGPT's thing using an API token URL or a token, secret token or something like that. But the problem with API calls is when you change your software, right? When you change your base software, sometimes this structured output might change. Okay, and when, like example, ChatGPT updated to 4.0 mini to 5 GPT, right? Now the structured output of ChatGPT has changed. Now if you call this API, but my current system is expecting this structured output, my system will fail. So in order to solve this problem of structured output difference, we use MCP. So MCP will create will convert this API call into its own structured language. So basically, it's MCP is like communicating between an English and a Chinese guy. Okay, and MCP is the translator in between. So whenever the English guys speaks "How are you," the MCP will change into Mandarin and say to the Chinese guy, "How are you?" Okay, in Chinese language. I'm not going to say it. It guy might be racist. So let's say Malayalam. Okay, so the translator guy will say, "എങ്ങനെയുണ്ട്?" Then the Malayalam guy will say, "Sugamanan," and the translator will say, "Yeah, I'm good." Right? So this translator is known as MCP. Okay, so it has MCP server. So whatever issues or anything will happen inside the MCP, you can actually go through the app info, right? You can test your apps. You can go through the screenshots. You can go through the global structure of the app or global process of the app, and you can actually submit the app for the production, right? So we have covered app info. Now now one more thing is batches. So we have seen here inside the storage this thing, batch, right? So the same thing, batch is also a separate entity inside OpenAI Playground, and the whole point of batch is for you to train the model without any parameters, and it's more cheaper. No rate limit is there, and you can train it asynchronously. So basically what it does is there are two ways of multi-agents or training. Okay, one way of multi-agent training is this is step 1, then you go to step 2, then you go to step 3. Okay, this is synchronic training. Okay, asynchronic training is this is step 1, then step 2, step 3 and step 4 is trained together, and whole of this training is going to step 5, right? So step 1 is trained, and parallelly step 2, step 3, step 4 is trained, and then step 5 is trained. On opposed to step 1 is trained, step 2 is trained, step 3 is trained, step 4 is trained, step 5 is trained. Okay, it's suppose this asynchronic. I need to do the English language bit. Okay, we have talked about evaluation and fine tuning, right? And also you have different tabs for video, image and audio, which is kind of we have discussed here, if you have a video related app, you can put all the videos here, right? So if you kind of create an app whereby architectural app, right, and you have a training data of all these architectural videos, you can put all these videos here and train the system, right? If you have a plant detection app, you can put all the images here and make it there, right? Or if you are making an app which converts English to Malayalam or Mandarin or anything, you can train or put all your training audio in here, right? So this is the whole concept in one go of OpenAI SDK of multi-agents or OpenAI's Playground. Hope you guys liked it. Until next time, signing off.